Hello and welcome to liveconfident.com. And in today's live stream, I'd like to talk to you about borrowing confidence. Now, in a previous live stream, I talked about reframing confidence and redirecting anxiety. So this session it's similar, but it's just coming at the issue from a different angle. So just to refresh your mind in case you didn't see that previous live stream, reframing is all about challenging what your brain is telling you is happening, or what it's telling you that you're feeling. So for instance, let's say you're about to walk on stage and give a presentation or a speech, and you're experiencing those butterflies in your tummy, and you're anxious, and you start shaking, maybe you start sweating, whatever the symptoms are for you when you're in that moment of paralysis and your brain is desperately trying to talk you out of doing it. Reframing enables you to challenge what your brain is telling you might happen, what it's telling you that it's feeling like. It's telling you that you're anxious and you're going to make mistakes and be humiliated, whatever it's telling you. And you can consciously come in and reinterpret that anxiety and say, well, no, these butterflies are not anxiety butterflies, they're excitement butterflies. I'm actually feeling excited about going out there and delivering a great presentation, and everybody is excited. They're not there to watch me fail, they're there to actually learn from what I'm going to tell them. And anxiety redirecting, as an example, could be that, well, you can tell your brain that something else is happening later on that day or later on that night, some big event, and that's what you're feeling anxious about, not what you're about to walk on stage and do. So, and your brain actually will believe you to a certain extent, and the anxiety will reduce. If you, it's crazy, but it's true. I've been there, I've done it, and I've tricked my own mind into believing that the anxiety I was feeling, or what it was telling me I was feeling, was, I told it, well, hey, that anxiety is actually for something later on today, not for what we're about to do right now. And the anxiety sensations actually reduced, and it was enough to get me moving. And couple that up with some reframes, and you really can get yourself moving in this way. And there's plenty of other reframes. I really ought to write a book on this, 100 different reframes to get you moving. I don't know, there's an idea. But today's session is more about borrowing confidence. So instead of in the moment convincing your brain or tricking it, if you like, however you want to phrase it, into believing that what it's telling you is not true, what you can actually do is go and grab something more concrete. So instead of simply telling your brain that you're feeling confident and everybody's excited to see you on stage, you can actually grab some confidence. Imagine confidence was this substantial material that you could just grab a fistful of and wrap it around yourself like a cloak, or swallow it, and imagine yourself filling up with effervescent bubbles like champagne, fizzing out throughout your body with all the confidence, and you can feel your body straightening out and filling up with the confidence. So how this works is very similar to the reframing, and there's two ways of doing it, really. The first way is to experience a memory, a representation of a past time when you were confident. It doesn't have to be a like-for-like scenario. You don't have to remember a time when you went on stage and you were super confident and you smashed it and everyone cheered. You don't have to get a like-for-like memory. you can borrow confidence from any memory, whether it was passing your test, passing your driving test, and remember the confidence you felt when you passed and the examiner said, "Here you are. Here's your certificate. You've passed. You've done it. You've smashed it. Well done. Good job." And you felt really confident and proud, or it could be some other memory of where you achieved, and you felt that uplifting of confidence, and to know that you'd done it, and you were now a little bit of a different person. So all you have to do is not standing at the back of a stage about to walk on, but in a quiet moment before all that happens, sit down in a quiet space and just, without the distractions, go into a memory and relive the memory, relive the sensations that you felt at the time, and let your mind and your body fill up with the memories and how it felt, what you experienced in that moment of confidence, how it differed from anxiety sensations. What was present in that memory that isn't present when you're anxious, and you grab those different confidence elements that you're feeling, and you re-experience it. It won't last for long, maybe 30 seconds or so, but let the memory crescendo and let yourself fill up with the memory of confidence, like filling up a glass of water. Fill up a mental glass of water with confidence and drink it, and then go out on stage, maybe do some star jumps and get your energy up and bring your energy to the stage. This is one way of borrowing confidence, so from a memory of when you were confident before. And it can even be as small a memory as tying your shoelaces for the very first time. It doesn't have to be a huge, big memory of confidence. It can be a little memory. And we've all got little memories of confidence. I remember when I first came across this strategy of going into memories, and the tutor said, right, think of a time when you were confident, and my mind went blank. I couldn't think of anything, but he didn't think to say to us, it doesn't have to be, a big moment of confidence. It can be anything. So that's the first type. That's borrowing confidence from a memory. The other type of borrowing confidence is from something that you actually do, something that scares you. Because they always say, don't they, that the fear is in the unknown, and until you've tried something for the first time, it will always remain a fear until you've faced it and you've gone through it. And the moment you've gone through it, it's no longer a fear, because it's no longer unknown. It's known. And if nothing bad happened, then that fear is gone from your life forever, because there you go. You've got a memory that you can access for confidence. But if it was something big, a big fear, and you faced it, and you embraced it, and you went through it, just imagine the amount of confidence that you get from doing that. And we're using an example here of you're standing backstage waiting to go on stage, and you're full of fear, and in that moment you might be paralysed, and your brain is trying to talk you out of doing it. Now, we're not talking about borrowing confidence again from a similar scenario. You can borrow confidence from anything that you did, any event, any big fear that you faced down. So let's say, for instance, when I was young, and we went to swimming class at a public swimming pools with the class, and I was one of the last to really learn to swim properly. I was a bit of a slow learner in that respect, and in this public swimming pool there was a separate pool for diving boards. You had your first, your second, and your third, and by that stage I was able to dive off the first board, which was quite low really, but the top board, it looked like it was in the sky. It looked that high up to me. But I saw my classmates just walking up there and just jumping off the top board like it was nothing, and I wanted to embrace that fear. It was a big roadblock in my mind, and I wanted to overcome it, and just be able to do it like all the other kids were doing. And so I clutching the railings, I mounted those narrow sets of steps to get to the top board. And of course it was wet up there, so I was walking very delicately, trying not to slip down, and I was imagining myself actually falling off the top board. And somebody had told me a story about how a friend of theirs had dived off the top board and they belly flopped into the water far below, and they dislocated the shoulder, and they'd been screaming in agony as they were in the water below, and there was all kinds of drama, and as I was standing on the top board, that story was going through my memory, and I was imagining that happening to me. What happens if I jump off and I belly flop and I dislocate a shoulder or something? I'd never done it before, never dislocated something, but from what I was told, it's a very painful thing, and I didn't want to experience it, especially when I was underwater and I could drown. And so this was a big fear. This was feeding into my mind as a roadblock, telling me that this was a stupid idea, and what the hell did I need to jump off the top board for anyway? It's just an ego thing. And so I was still determined to face it anyway. So I crept towards the edge of the board, and I sat down there on the edge, looking down at the water far below, and I must have been there for some time, 30 minutes, maybe longer, and during this time, other people in the pool, my classmates, wherever they were in the environment, they'd notice me sitting there, and they knew that, because they've probably gone through it themselves, they knew I was trying to build up the courage to actually jump off this board, and a few of them, they were actually coming up and just walking along the board and jumping straight off without hesitating, just to, partially to mock me and partially to show me how easy it was and how easy it was for them. And they would just, without hesitating, they just walk straight up to the edge of the board and walk straight off. And for them, it was just so easy. And as the time spread out, some people started cheering me and encouraging me to do it and get it done, because they knew I was in that moment of trying to convince myself into doing it, and finally I stood up and I did it. In the end, I did it. It's a long time ago now. I don't know how long it took me to get to that point, but I embraced it and I did it. Nothing bad happened. It was just a straight jump. I kept as rigidly straight as I could, and my toes pointing down, so I had the least chance possible of belly flopping, and it was all good. There was no problem whatsoever, and I went back up and I did it a few more times before we had to leave. And the confidence I gained from doing it lent itself into other situations where I was having a little bit of a hard time doing something. I can't give you examples, but I know it. That when I was facing something else in a different area of my life, I was feeling anxious about it, I could borrow the confidence that I felt that I put in the bank of my self-esteem from doing that jump off the top board, and I could borrow that confidence and use it for this other area of my life. So if you don't have anything like that you've done yet, then think about it. If there's something in your life like diving off the top board, or if you're a grown-up now and you're looking for something a little bit bigger than that, how about skydiving or parachuting, or some sort of adrenaline activity like that? Bungee jumping, that's a roadblock for me. That's something I should challenge myself to do, and put some more confidence in the self-esteem bank. I've seen people who have done it, and they've had burst blood vessels in their eyeballs from that that point where they stop falling and then they spring back up, and that looks horrible to me. You know, because apparently the organs keep going as your body physically stops, and you know that's something my brain will tell me in the moment that, you know, that's not something you want to experience. But many people have done it, and they're absolutely fine, right? So you have to push through these mental blocks, what your brain is telling you is going to happen, all the worst possible things, and you push through. So you've got to find something for the first time. Maybe it's just going on a roller coaster or some big scary amusement park ride, which you've perhaps never done before because, you know, it's a roadblock and you've never got beyond that roadblock. Maybe you've been there with other people who have happily gone on it and you've made your excuses and gone off and done something else. If that's a roadblock, you face it. Go there by yourself and face it and go through it. Nothing bad is going to happen at the end of the day. I mean, for a few minutes, you're either going to feel utter terror, and then the ride is going to end, and you're going to move on with your life, or you're going to go on it and you're going to enjoy the hell out of it, and you're going to love it, and you're going to come back and do it over and over again. You don't know until you actually do it. But either way, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, you're going to bank a whole bunch of confidence. And you can use that confidence and cross-transfer it into a different area of your life where you may be needing that confidence. So if you were standing at the backstage waiting to go on to give a presentation, all you need to do is remember that you are able to push through the barriers of that scenario. Let's say it was skydiving or jumping out of a plane to do a parachute jump, and you remember sitting at the edge of the plane ready to jump out and trying to convince yourself to do the jump, and you can tell yourself and remember that you actually did it. You pushed yourself through the barrier, and if you can do that and you re-experience the confidence, let it come back to life and light you up inside, then just walking out on stage to do this is much less of a challenge by comparison. Now, of course, going out on stage to give a speech requires something more mental acuity, memory. If you've got a speech, it might require some knowledge. So it's a little bit of a different beast. But all we're talking about here is confidence, and re-experiencing confidence and letting it fill your accessing the confidence, whether it's from a memory or something you've actually done deliberately, a big challenge that you've faced down, and maybe now because you did do that, you get a little bit addicted to the adrenaline, and all you have to tell yourself now is this is a different form of adrenaline that you're about to experience. Reframes and borrowing of confidence. You've got to find the combination that works best for you. But the first thing you've got to do is go out and grab the confidence. So that's my advice for you today in this live stream. When something is unknown, it's feared. Push yourself through the barrier to do that thing, and it's no longer a fear. You've removed a fear from your life and you've replaced it with the confidence that you get from having gone through the barrier and achieved it and done it. And that's all I've got to say for this live stream. It's a powerful thing. I've done it myself deliberately on several occasions. I think the next time will have to be a bungee jump. You know, that terrifies the hell out of me, but you've got to walk the walk, right? So, okay, I hope that's useful to you, and I hope it's inspired you and given you some ideas, because once you do it, you may have been losing little bits, tiny little bits of self-esteem over a long period of time, but you can repair a lot of that lost self-esteem in one big act. And you may have got it right down here. One big act, one big challenge of facing down a fear and making it no longer unknown could build you right back up to here. And then once you're here, once you've done it, build on it, keep building on it, and keep the motivation going. Build that that snowball effect, keep it growing and growing. That's up to you. That's wherever you take it from there. That's up to you. But you've got to first do that big act, so that you've got something to borrow confidence from. Okay, I'm going to look forward to seeing you again in another live stream. There you go, doing a live stream. That might be a challenge for you. Okay, let's talk again in a few days' time.